Okay.
Okay. All right. Not sure why I can't get this. Okay. So, what do you want to focus on?
So I was kind of confused about like the scope of this. Like, how long is this supposed to be? Is the sky the limit? Or is it like supposed to be something that we focus on like a really small, short amount of time? But I was interested in maybe looking at project-based learning and bilingual teaching and that impact on my ESL student achievements because I am the
Mhm.
ELL coordinator at my school. However, I don't teach the ESL classes. I have an
Oh,
ESL aide and she's bilingual and she's the one that teaches the classes. And so I was kind of interested in maybe that program and that class that she teaches and making some improvements there.
mhm. Okay. Um, so what has and has not been done previously in this area?
So in this area, like when I kind of went in and was looking at different things, there has been research on project based learning and, of course, bilingual teaching separate, but there hasn't been any like combined studies where they've put both the things together.
Okay, okay. Um, so why are you doing this?
So we for the last few years haven't shown a lot of growth on our RITA end of year summative scores and our RISE end of year language arts scores for our ELL student population. And so I want to figure out effective strategies for improving outcomes for my ESL students, my ESL learners.
Okay. Um, um, sorry, I had this question. So how will you address your central research question? Or I guess maybe we should talk about what are you thinking of doing for your research question?
So I was thinking that I might do something like how can project based learning and the presence of a bilingual teacher in the form of my paraprofessional that speaks Spanish affect the achievement of ESL students at Cedar Middle School based on growth from WIDA and RISE assessment results. And so obviously I'd have to implement like RISE benchmark assessments and interims and so it would be if I were to do this over the course of an entire school year. So that's kind of why I'm like, I don't know really what the scope is that he wants here. But
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Um, so okay, because this kind of goes on. What when do you start and finish your thesis? And I guess that,
I'm
yeah,
done.
that,
Yeah,
yeah.
my thesis is done. I actually already walked in April. This is my very last class.
Oh,
So
congratulations.
I actually did a different topic, problem, purpose, and question for my thesis
Hmm.
entirely. It was with social and emotional learning. And so I was like, well, since this maybe is just something he wants me to use for like, I don't know, further research, I was thinking, well,
Hmm.
it might be interesting to kind of look at the ESL program and do something
Yeah.
like that.
So, what do you think then what will be your new original contribution to practical and theoretical knowledge in this field?
I think combining them. I think that there's been work with bilingual education and project-based learning, and
Hmm.
there's research out there on both of those things, but not really putting the two together. Like, how does project-based learning really affect the ELL population?
Hmm. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I'm looking at this and I feel like a lot of these, I mean, let's see, maybe we could say, how would you argue or demonstrate and produce evidence to um substantiate to that your work and thesis contribute to the new original ideas?
So my data sources that I was thinking that I might use is
Mhm.
I would do like student and teacher interviews. So I'd interview my paraprofessionals um,
Mhm.
with open-ended as well as maybe, I don't know, some Likert scale questions. I could do that like survey process. I'm not sure. I haven't thought about it like entirely how it would work out,
Mhm.
but some sort of interview or survey with my paraprofessional or with her students, or maybe a combination of both. And then in addition to that, I would give Rise and WIDA benchmark, or there's not WIDA benchmarks, but Rise benchmarks. I'd have to go over or use the previous year's WIDA data as kind of a benchmark, but and then interims, and use that kind of as a more quantitative way to gather data to see growth. And so, like I said, it would be a large process. It would take all year because I'd have to
Yeah.
gather data about 3 times with a benchmark and then an interim and then the summative assessment at the end of the year. But and then I was thinking my third data source could be, oh my goodness, I know that I had it now. It's like escaped my brain. Okay, so yeah, student and teacher interviews, WIDA and Rice test scores. Oh, I got really, really lucky this year. So my prep period's going to be the same period that she teaches the class. And so I'm hoping on like certain
Mhm.
occasions when I'm not like overwhelmed with grading and stuff, that I can kind of step in and kind of use it as like a co-teaching opportunity. And I can do some observations and some things that way to hopefully
Oh,
kind of
fantastic.
gather some evidence.
Perfect. Excellent. Well, I mean, I think that that's a good chunk of the questions that I was thinking about with there. I think it's a great idea. It's going to be great.
Okay, well, thank you. All right, are you ready to take the, what did he call it? Hot seat?
Yeah, yeah, I think so. It's like you said, I'm wondering, I can tie this so much into my current and into my thesis that I'm doing, but is this more going to be based for just this class, or is it going to be based?
Right. When do you finish your thesis?
So I'll finish with my thesis by December. So
Okay.
I'll be a December graduate. So
Uh,
this is my, after I finish this class, I have 2 more classes in the fall and I'm done.
So you start your study in the fall. So you're like in your
Yes.
methodology and stuff right now. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. So what do you want to focus on?
So I'm a special education teacher in the high school, and one of the things that I have noticed is that there is no curriculum to help special education students to transition from high school to post-secondary life. And one of the challenges that we have with that is that so much of our state laws and our funding and just everything that we do to help support students in high school that have a IEP or special education services, so much of that is centered around helping them to prepare for this next stage of life, but then there is nothing that we can find anywhere that actually helps teachers to do that. And so my focus is and has been to um, create essentially a curriculum for students to transition out of high school.
Okay. So you kind of mentioned this already. So when you look at the literature and you look at the stuff that's out there, what has and has not been done previously in this area? Is there literally zero or?
I'm finding little things here and there. Most of it is not specifically centered with special needs. It's kind of a mixed bag of, hey, here are some of the things that students need to know before they go out into the real world. Or it's very specific in its topics. So it's like, here are things that career topics that all high school students should know before they graduate, or here are life skills for students with special needs that would be beneficial. So there's pieces of it here and there. I have a lot of it is actually coming from out of the United States. So it's studies in other countries that are kind of seeing how to support that. So there is stuff here and there, but not specifically to say, hey, these are things that we've seen that would be beneficial to teach. Excuse me. And another, what I'm been really kind of focusing in on because I mean, creating a whole new curriculum is a huge task to take on. Part of what I've been doing for this study is, how do I help? What resources can I put in to help students kind of create and participate in their own future planning? So what is it that it needs to happen to help them to prepare themselves?
How will
Sorry.
you address your central research question?
How will I address it? So a lot of it is going to be case study based, following specific students during the research part or of the study part to see, okay, if we're doing certain lessons and then based off of surveys that they respond to those, how did they like how something was presented? Did they feel confidence? Did they feel invested in their own learning or in their own planning for their future? So it is going to be a lot more based in that direction, is kind of just survey based.
How
Sorry,
you
everyone's having.
argue, demonstrate, and produce evidence to substantiate that your work or thesis makes a substantial contribution to new or original knowledge in the field in theory and practice.
Well, my hope is that, I mean, this is the good thing is that I actually started all of this because my district in particular reached out to me and asked me to help be a part of like this committee to do this. So I know that even what I'm building for my research is then going to go on and help to benefit my district. And then my hope would be that as we then as a district take what I've researched and things that I've been trying to build, other teachers will add to it and we'll build to it, and then we can share it with more things within our state.
Perfect. Okay. Let's see. You kind of already hit on this. You talked about the surveys, but what research methods will you use? Is there any other research methods?
One of the things that I keep trying to figure out, and part of the reason why I'm taking some of these classes, is if I am creating like certain lessons or certain things, what elements are needed to just in general create lessons that not only have like that could build on each other. So creating that scope and sequence, creating standards, creating all of those things that build on each other throughout the school year. And it might even need to build on itself over 4 years. As a student is in high school, they might potentially be in a life skills type class all 4 years. And so a lot of what I've been trying to do is it's not just about creating the lessons, and it's not just about building confidence in students. It's helping it, like I'm having to do a lot of different research into how do you create curriculum, and how do you create curriculum that not just I can use but other teachers can use with different backgrounds and different ideas. So it's been interesting.
Okay. Right, and we talked about, so the time frame for this is a little bit more extensive. So this is probably something that if you were going to do it for your thesis, you would kind of have to narrow down the scope. Correct.
Right.
Right. Okay. Okay.
So like that's why I'm like, if my main thesis is not like is been building on throughout each of the classes. So I'm thinking with this class, my focus, since it is the instructional based, how do you create, mine would be mine might even be research and finding the research project for just this class might just be what would be an effective scope and sequence, or what would be necessary tools needed for creating standards, something along those lines, that it just kind of it builds on the overall thing that I'm doing. So I'd have to kind of sit and figure that out of what we're doing for that research thing, which is great because we get to do a potential research question for this assignment. And I was like, oh, great. Okay. Narrow it down very quickly.
Okay, well, perfect. I think that that covers everything. I think
Yeah.
good.
Okay.
Okay, all right. So
Perfect.
I don't know. Do you just want me to?
Maybe if you want to post this and then I can just comment on it, the research. Because it says do your research. Because this has really helped me to kind of
Oh
think
yeah, our
through.
oh yeah, commenting our like our problem, purpose, question. That's
Yes.
right. I can do that too. Perfect. That
And
sounds
so
good.
maybe, yeah, so if you post our little or the discussion we've just had, and then we'll just each comment
Or
that
think.
below.
Okay, that works.
Okay.
Okay, awesome.
Well, perfect. Thank you so much.
Okay, enjoy
Have a
the
great
rest of
day.
your summer.
Oh, you too.
Okay, see ya.
Ending fast.